those 10% of cockamamie requirements in a cost plus contract, the contractor will always say yes. Really.
Yeah, Elon Musk knows exactly what he's doing when it comes to government contracting. And it's no surprise he's one of the biggest defense/government contractors that have arisen in the past 30 years. Hey guys, Rick Howard here. I'm a former government acquisitions officer. I managed over $82 billion in federal government contracts. So let's get into Elon Musk. You know, what we just watched is an old C-SPAN clip where he is talking about his philosophy on government contracting. And I pulled that out because I wanted to find video of him that matched up with the recent Elon Musk book that I read, because I think he has the right idea as far as cost plus contracts. You know, we all hear about the big defense contractors, and sometimes we hear about them taking advantage of people, of taxpayer dollars. We've heard horror stories about, $1,000 toilet seats. These cost plus contracts that Elon's talking about essentially are contract values that can change. You could hire me and we could come up with a fixed fee, which I, the company, agree on with the government, say for $5 million, I'm going to build this piece of software to you. Well, now it's on me to make sure that I get it done in time, that I am able to watch my costs so it doesn't go, above that 5 million, because that's all I'm going to get, right? So my profit is going to be the difference between how much it costs me to make that software and what the government's paying me. Now that's a very simple way of explaining it versus a cost plus contract. There's already profit built into it, right? I'm going to make my profit no matter what, but the cost of actually building the software can change, right? And the government can and does add requirements sometimes to these projects that they're putting on. Now, when he was talking about cockamamie, requirements, the government may say, hey, we need to add these security features. We need to add a user interface. And hey, maybe we also need to add an AI tool that, writes everybody's mission plans for them and blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe that is so beyond the scope of what the company was put on contract to do. It would cost so much that if the government came to me with a fixed fee contract, I'd say, no, there's no way we could do that. That's going to triple the cost of the contract. It's probably not going to work. It's never been done before. It's more R&D. There's lots of things that I might reply with as a contractor looking to cut costs. But if I know I'm going to make a certain amount of profit every month, every year, no matter how long the contract goes, and the government's going to pay for all these additional things, well, then what Elon's saying is I'm incentivized to say, oh yeah, we'll take the AI tool requirement and yeah, we'll put that in there for you. Well, that could be a 3 to 5 year project that triples the cost of the entire contract and then doesn't even work. All right. So how are we incentivizing the companies that we put on contract to reduce costs and to deliver what they were asked for to begin with? So that's cost versus fixed fee. Let's hear some of Elon's other thoughts on government contracting and see what we think of them.
It's critically important that we change the contracting structure to be a competitive commercial bid. Make sure that there are always at least two entities.
I'm not going to come out swinging on this, maybe a couple jabs, but for the most part, I agree with Elon, because what he's getting at is that we don't want to be handing these big prime contractors government contracts that are worth a lot of money without competition. Competition does make these contracts more competitive. It's better for the taxpayer for the most part. But just having done this for a long time, there are certainly times, even with the bigs, where a sole source contract makes sense and it does the opposite. It doesn't waste the government's time. And there's a couple of reasons for this. One is if there's a company that they're the only ones that can do the thing, right? So you might have a unique startup where your software or your technology, it's new. It's the only thing that does what we need it to. Another is if the government has already invested in the infrastructure with a company. So if the government has invested, tens of millions of dollars with defense contractor X to build out a virtual reality environment, and in order to compete the follow-on contract, they would have to spend that money all over again with the new business, it wouldn't make sense, right? It wouldn't be cost effective because there's already an investment there. So there is a time for sole source contracting, but I think competition for most contracts will win the day and be best for the country and for you, the taxpayer. I started GovClose. So GovClose.com is helping businesses sell to the U.S. government. And we have a certification program, which I'm really excited about, that teaches people the government contracting process and how they can leverage that in their own consulting business or as a sales executive for a company. So essentially, we're training the workforce that's doing the selling and winning government contracts for companies. Some of our students are closing contracts before they even graduate. It's really exciting.
Those PowerPoint presentations do not count. Everything works in PowerPoint.
Yeah. I don't know how many companies have come to my office when I was a government acquisitions officer with a pretty slide deck talking about what they could do. And then a year later, they're on contract, and all of a sudden, it's going to cost the government twice as much because they can't do what they said they were going to do, or it's harder, or they can't meet the security requirements. This happens all the time. And Elon's making the point that everything works in a slide deck, right? All right, well, this is not a slide deck. This is how much money Elon Musk's company SpaceX, or Space Exploration Technologies Corp, has made in the past few years. And we could check this on usaspending.gov. So this is why it's important to listen to him. He's one of the first people that have actually been able to compete with the big defense contractors. $19.6 billion. And if we go down, we can see what that graph looks like. Starting back here in 2009, and now he's slowly, it looks like he's making a little bit of money here, but that's really about $500 million, flirting with $1 billion. And then we can see like now the skyrocket, right, to $3.5 billion in 2024. And then if you're curious, you can go on here yourself, look up his company and see, okay, who is he selling to? NASA, not a surprise, Air Force, and see what accounts, what NAICS codes he's using, right? So chartered freight, guided missiles, research and development. So a lot of things that you might anticipate, but this is just a little bit of information for you. Like, hey, why do I care what Elon Musk says? Why should we be interested in his government contracting strategy? It works, right? Proof's in the pudding.
If that company manages to find some excuse to double the cost of the contract, they're going to get double the profit because they're getting a percentage. So they can do exactly that.
Yeah, I'm going to double down on that. I can remember working with big defense contractors when I was on the government side, and we would have something that the mission actually needed. We would have something that the crew needed, or a concept that would make things faster, put on contract, develop tech faster, insert technology faster. Some of these big companies would stall. They knew that the military acquisitions officers would change assignments every couple of years. So if we were going to suggest something that they didn't like, that would mean they'd make less money, or potentially inserting a technology from another business, a small startup, there are 100 different ways that they could stall me, at the time, the government, with legal reviews and just bureaucracy, because some of these huge companies are just like the government. They take a long time to get things done. And, they're not incentivized to move fast in a lot of situations. So I love this. I would actually recommend go to acquisitions.gov and look up what a cost plus fixed fee contract is. Look up, there's several. You can look at all the different contract types when you get there, just so you have an idea of what does this mean? And what does this mean for you as a business owner? What does it mean for you if you're consulting or you are working as a sales executive for a company? And hey, don't forget, head on over to govclose.com if you want to hire an expert that we've trained to help you win contracts, or if you want to become an expert yourself and start your own consulting business. We show you exactly how to do that. We show you what you need to understand on the government contracting sales process, how you would use that to help companies sell to the government, and then how to leverage that by starting your own business. And we show you how to do that, how to find leads, how to price your services. Getting a lot of results there. Would love to see you over at govclose.com. Take care.